With early Rosetta testing, Verdance is going to be a force to be reckoned with. She really gives a lot of Bullander vibes, and she has a lot of very powerful synergy she can pull off. But one of the areas we're going to need to work on is the aggro matchup. With Aurora having split arcane damage and throwing 0 for 4s at us every turn, we have to do everything we can to find some breathing room. Cards like Command and Conquer, The Weakest Link, and Felling of the Crown offer disruption that can put us in a decent spot and slow our opponent down for us. There will probably come a turn at some point in the game when we do not have disruption, and that's honestly when we need to be a little afraid. Because if Aurora gets to keep a 5-card hand with an Embodiment of Lightning token, we could be looking at 25 to 30 points, and it's tough to come back from hands like that. Thanks for stopping by, guys. I hope you enjoyed the match. Okay, we're playing against Aurora, and we are going first. They have AB3. Okay. I'm kind of thinking we can pitch the Cadaverous Tilling to play this rounds on me, but kind of go from there and see what we draw into. Yeah, let's take that route. I don't know, like using Trom on turn 0 seems like a pretty good play. We can really try to dampen what they're trying to accomplish here. Use Rootbound Carapace. We're probably not going to be able to get the Earth cards we want in there. So I tell you what, let's just swing 4. I think swinging 4 is just the best way to go because we're forcing them to decide how they want to play this out. We're also putting an Earth card into our graveyard, which is pretty sweet. So we're trying to set up an early decompose ability, maybe even like as soon as next turn, just depending on what everything looks like. Okay, so they do decide to just like stay at 40 as opposed to keep the 5-card hand potential. They play Sigil of Lightning, which is going to give them an Embodiment of Lightning next turn. All right, sounds good. I'm a little surprised to see them not try and play the 5-card hand, but it all just depends on what their hand looks like. Okay, so what are we going to see? Draw a card. So this is going to be for 4, go again. I think I'm just going to block with the Heartbeat of Candlehold. It puts an Earth card into our graveyard. That's kind of where we want to be right now. We could deny them the draw by playing the Rootbound Carapace. This hand does block very efficiently, but I don't really know if that's where we want to be right now. I'd like to try and take cards out of their hand if I can help it on next turn. It's possible that, yeah, we're probably just supposed to play the Carapace there. I don't know. I'd really like to decompose as soon as possible, and we just pitched a card that played a card that decomposes, and we would be getting rid of our next card that does decompose here. We'll just take 1. I don't really think there's a reason to block here. Taking 1 seems fine. We'll see what our opponent follows us up with. An Erase Face, huh? I think this is fine. Like we can block 3, take 2, and then I can pitch Aether Arc to play Surgent Aethertide and then attempt to Mind Warp them. Giving us just a little bit of potential value here. There might be a world I'm just supposed to block 6 and then throw the Surgent Aethertide here. Not sure. I think it's probably better. I think it's better to go for the Aethertide into the Mind Warp line, because if we are able to deny them, if we're able to deny them like an extra card here, like it's a good value for us. So if they take this, they're forced to pretty much give us a card no matter what now. They can pitch to AB if they'd like to, or they can literally just get their hand shuffled back in and then draw 3 cards, however they'd like to do it. All right. Sand seems okay. So, I don't know. Sand's interesting. Sand's interesting. Okay, so go again. So we're pretty much giving up our first 2 cards that block here to try and deny this on-hit effect, which I have to admit I'm not a huge fan of. We are going to decompose here by giving the Rootbound Carapace. We will decompose, getting rid of both of our Earth cards and a Mind Warp. Didn't really care about blocking the 4 there as opposed to blocking the 3. It was more about getting the value that we wanted. So I'm just going to play the Sink Below here. No reason to do anything fancy. I mean, I guess we could. Nah, we should still play the Sink Below, right? It's still just the best thing we can be doing. Yeah, it's still just the best thing we can be doing. I don't think there's a reason to put anything on the bottom. We can put the healing potion into play, and then we can arsenal the Rampant Growth and try to set up for an early combo here. Now, there's no guarantees, obviously, but we do have the plume set up and a little bit of life gain early on in the game. They're going to play Sigil of Lightning. Okay, makes sense. It's a good one to have. We have 2 Earth cards over here. We do not have a way to decompose, which is a little unfortunate, but if this is for go again, I think what I'll end up doing is blocking with Aether Arc and a Life for a Life. Okay, so it's draw card, go again. Makes sense. We might as well just block 5, stay efficient here. I mean, we're probably just blocking out, right? Like, it's probably just block city from here. We actually don't have any AB in this matchup, which is a little tough, but that's okay. Let's see. What do we want to do here? I can block 3 and throw the Life for a Life. It has go again, not that that really matters, but it's also a 1-for-4 that can just potentially gain us life here. So we're falling down a little bit using our Tunic counter for value. And then, I mean, they probably just give us their equipment here. There's probably not a reason for them to give us a card from hand. No. I was like, I cannot imagine that that is correct for you to say no blocks here. Yeah, just giving equipment, keeping your hand, trying to stock up as much as you can. Makes sense. So we're just going to have to take some damage, unfortunately, here, but I think we're just going to have to go for the Felling Crown play, as it does technically buy us a card from their hand defensively here. So we're going to have to take quite a bit here to be able to play out this Felling Crown, and Felling Crown is just going to be a 3-for-8 here, as we're going to banish. We're probably just going to go ahead and banish 3 Earth cards, since technically we'll have 3 more after that. So if we draw another Decompose card, we'll be in a decent spot. Yeah, feels bad to take 6 here, but I think it's what we're going to have to do. Burn Up and Shock being on attacks, like any attack, is really solid here. And they have a Somersault they're going to use. Okay. I mean, Somersault's good because it basically just lets them block 6 for free here. I mean, quote-unquote free, because they're just going to buy them back to their hand. And we'll come in with the Felling Crown. We will decompose. We're going to go ahead and get rid of 3 Earth cards. We are leaving 2 actions in there, which is important. It's important to make sure that we do get rid of the Rootbound Carapace on this one, so that we can make sure that we can set this up for next turn. Or I guess whenever we draw our next Decompose card. But yeah, they're going to block like this, play Somersault. So they have a Shockwave and a Heaven's Claw in hand. And then the Chain Link resolves, and they get to put that back. Activate Aurora. This hand's incredibly awkward. We take the Rune Chant, fall down to 17. I'm going to sink below one of the Cadaverous Tillings. And if we rip into a 5th red, that's just going to feel real bad. No? Okay. I mean, I guess technically even if we did rip into a red, it would have been fine, but it's pretty arguable that gaining a life is just better here anyway. So, yeah, you know what? Let's do that. Let's go Aethertide, Dylan Arcane. And then we're going to throw Cadaverous Tilling. It is technically 2 less points on the turn cycle, but it is more value for us in the long run here. So we are going to go back up to 8, which means Verdance is now turned on. So since we gain a life and we turn on her ability, we do get to deal an extra damage here. And with Tunic coming up next turn, we have a very real possibility at trying to combo, depending on what we draw into. Now, they are at 30, so, you know, it's not exactly like... okay. Definitely should have packed AB for this matchup. Was not thinking when I was sideboarding. It's one of the interesting things is, like, I'm learning Verdance and trying to get used to the new set. And so, like, I'm still forgetting sometimes when to pack Arcane Barrier and when not to. So it's just one of those, like, silly things that I'm trying to work through in my head. I think this is the way to go. Would like to have an Arcane spell here that we could do some damage with. We do fall down to 15. They're just going to be milking Grasp, which, I mean, on an Arc Lightning turn is a very good play, but it also makes sense to just be milking it in general, I think. We're going to say no blocks, and I'm going to play Rootbound Carapace. We will decompose just to be able to block 4 efficiently. We're going to fall down to 12 off of the Arc Lightning. Let's block 2, take 2, and then we can gain 2 on their turn and also deal, like, ping them for 1 damage here. And any amount of damage that we are able to use to, like, kind of help put us in a better spot, the better off we're going to be. We're running out of room here. We are running out of turns where we have the ability to, like, really comfortably keep a combo hand. So I'm going to need this next hand. Probably looking at the next hand, if not the one after that for sure, to be really solid. The fact that they're pitching to AB makes me feel pretty good, though. Mind Warp's pretty good. I mean, we're going to see what they can put together, but... So we're going to pitch Tome of Harvest to Surgent Aethertide. Pitch Destructive Aethertide to play Fertile Ground, gain a life. Play Healing Potion. Play this. Plume it back off of Tunic. Use Hold Focus and then play Mind Warp to deal a ton. So we have the whole thing set up next turn. We just have to stay alive. Which is looking like easier said than done. It's also worth noting that... No, we can't really... I mean, we would go to 2 here if we took this, which would be bad. I think we have to take this and hope that we can stay alive here. Actually, I guess we go to 1. Okay, we go to 1, and they pass. Okay, so let's walk through our whole turn here. So we're going to play Fertile Ground, pitching the blue. Ping to deal them 1 arcane damage. We have now gained 5 life. Drawing the gain 5 life card is actually insanely valuable for us here. So we get to Healing Potion to go back to 8. Ping them for 1 arcane damage here. We do not have another copy of our card to get back here, which is unfortunate. We're going to play both sides of our card here. Go to 9. Deal an arcane damage to them. We might be able to get them right here. I don't know. Like, it's not going to be easy, but it's possible. And then we get to activate Plume. Get back our combo piece. We'll use both sides here. Go to 10, deal an arcane damage to them. So we have now, and we're amping 9 here. We're going to activate Hold Focus to amp 1. We're going to use Tunic. We're going to activate Surgent Aethertide. This is going to be for a ton. I kind of get the sense that they're dead here through AB3. So we're dealing 11 arcane damage here. They may not be dead. Well, if they have to pitch all reds, they probably are dead. So this is going to be exactly 10. It dealt 8 plus 2. So if they have a red, they go to 1. And then they have no cards in hand. And we get a full turn cycle here with Verdance available to us. So we come back to our turn, and we're going to go both sides of our card here. We're going to gain a life, and we're going to amp 1. Verdance is going to activate and trigger deal a damage here. We're going to refresh because the Verdance is going to be in our way. They pitch a blue. We're going to activate Surgent Aethertide, which is going to be coming in for 2. Actually, that was wrong, wasn't it? Because we've amped here, we're just supposed to come in with this for 4. And that ends the game because they can't stop it. So that was a little bit of a misstep, and in a real game would have cost me pretty badly there, but we ended up being able to close it out. Being able to play this rounds on me on turn 0 was a very solid way to start this game, and really forced our opponent to make some decisions early on keeping the 5-card hand or taking some damage there and what they wanted to do. Also on the next turn, we were able to block a little bit, and then use Surgent Aethertide, and then throw the Mind Warp, which again forced another card out of our opponent's hand, or forced them to give up their hand and have one less card regardless, really giving us a decent tempo swing early on. On turn 5, we fell all the way down to 18 to be able to throw Felling of the Crown, which honestly I think is important, because 1, you need to be decomposing to turn on Verdance's light hero ability, but at the same time, you also want to be throwing Disruption and making your opponent's hands a little awkward. So taking some damage to be able to throw more Disruption, I think was a good play here. This combo turn was one of the coolest ones I've got to do. We started at 1 going into turn 8, and they were at 30. When the turn ended, we were at 10, and they were at 1. We also got to use Mind Warp to take the last card out of their hand so that they physically could not do anything on their turn, because from the previous turn they did not play their arsenal, so we knew that they could not play it off of a 0-card hand, and that really put us in the driver's seat, and we were just able to finish the game off from here. Being able to deal 29 points of damage and take your opponent's hand is a very powerful thing, and a big reason why I think Verdance is going to do so well in this meta. Guys, if you see anything you think I missed, let me know in the comments down below. I'd love to hear about it. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to like and subscribe for more content. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. Take it easy, guys.